Monday, June 30th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk a bit about the purchasing of laptops.
Let's do this.
So, last week, something happened that sucked. It sucked a great deal, but unlike...
It didn't suck that badly.
It sucked for me.
It sucked less for me.
Yeah, mainly because I'm on the side of the house that faced this thing more, so I had to deal with it. But basically, we did the show last Thursday, and we're all set. I'm real tired, but it's okay. I'm going to go straight to bed, and then the next day, we're going to stay in the city late, go see Satoshi Kon and all that business, which we'll talk about on a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just as I'm editing the show, I hear a crash outside amidst a bunch of fireworks.
See, I was in the bathroom, and I heard fireworks go off, and I'm like, some people think the 4th of July is a little early. They couldn't keep it in their closet, you know?
Granted, when I was a kid, I was blowing stuff up pretty much from the beginning
1st.
of June until the end of August.
But anyway, in the middle of these fireworks, I heard one that was much louder, and I thought it was much closer than the others. And I was like, that's strange. Did it, fail to, it went up in the air, came down, and then exploded? What was up?
Now, meanwhile...
But I didn't think anything more of it.
Because I was in my room with the window open, I heard an explosion, followed by, holy shit! What happened to that pole? And these guys, because, we have a car dealership across the street, and there's these punk kids who work there overnight. Like, they wash the cars, and they work on them, and we figured out in the course of all this how they deal with their overnight job, because as we were walking over to inspect what befell, we saw their 7 cases of Corona that they were loading in, obviously to replace their previous 7 cases of Corona.
Nah.
But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and Scott walks in my room and is like, what was that noise?
I didn't ask what that noise. I was in my room because I thought nothing of it, and you came and told me what was going on.
Anyway, so I hear... holy shit, look at that pole. It's going to fall over. Oh, no, what happened? I don't know. And these guys are like, what happened? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking out the window, and sure enough, the pole, the utility pole down the street, is basically held up by the other 2 poles adjacent to it.
Yeah, other people might, live in places of the world where they don't have telephone poles.
Like when I grew up.
But you see, we live in New England, which is the oldest part of the United States. And, telephones are sort of invented. Well, at least they may, someone else might have invented them besides Alexander Graham Bell.
What a telephone pole is.
I don't know. Some people, they might only have underground telephone where they live.
Granted, where I grew up, the only telephone poles that weren't underground were the high tension power lines.
Yep, but no, we have pieces of wood that are all along the side of the street with wires going from one to the other.
And actually, I feel like I could do a short show about, because a lot of you, it's actually very regimented how a utility pole is put together. And the best way to explain it is
electricity at the top.
The more dangerous something is, the higher up it is.
Yes, because that way the telephone guy doesn't have to get anywhere near the electricity because he'll die. But the electricity guy, because he's so badass, he can go past the telephone. He doesn't give a shit.
But actually, the details of how all that works is pretty fascinating. And also, there's an unrelated issue that it's kind of related because it's the reason the pole basically shattered as opposed to taking the car.
They use a certain kind of wood?
Well, no, it's more that the average age of a utility pole in the United States is ludicrous. Most of them were put up in the 70s and haven't been touched since.
Well, because if it works, don't touch it.
But the thing is, they don't work anymore because they were designed to do power and telephone. And now you look at a telephone pole, and it'll have power on the top.
The one at the end of our street, which is adjacent to the one that broke, is ludicrous.
We should take a picture of that thing and upload it, just so you guys can see. Like it's some sort of monster.
It is.
But basically, you look, and there's the 3-phase power, and then the little phone. And then there's a million gigantic data cables, dragging all these things down. And to mount these things, they use bolts and screws, and they grow into the wood. And as a result, they've weakened the wood. The telephone pole infrastructure in the United States is on the verge of collapse.
How is that any different from any of the other infrastructure in the United States?
Because a lot of the other infrastructures are still being maintained much more readily than these poles are.
I guess, but not much.
Actually, no. I think that the telephone pole infrastructure in the U.S. and, as an extension, the power distribution grid in the U.S. are the most critical infrastructural problems we have today.
It's one of, but...
What's worse than that?
What's worse
Name a
than...
worse set of infrastructure, a lesser maintained, more poorly put together, more prone to failure, more likely to fuck us.
Bridges.
Bridges are doing fine.
Yeah,
the only bridges that aren't doing fine.
All the bridges are old because they never knocked them down and rebuild them, so
But-
they're all busted.
No, they're not. Actually, the only bridges that are having trouble are the Whitestone and the Throg's Neck because they're the same damn bridge. It was a shitty design when they made it in the first place.
There are like 3 or 4 bridges that are messed up.
What bridges? They're doing fine.
It's like the shitty bridge up in Poughkeepsie. That one's
Which one?
You know, the one that goes across the Hudson up in Poughkeepsie. It's only
So-
got like 2 lanes.
You mean the Mid-Hudson Bridge that
Yeah.
has 4 lanes?
No, I'm pretty sure. There's a really tiny, scary one.
No, there
It
isn't.
doesn't have a dividing in the middle.
Are you talking about the bridge way further north that you've never driven on?
No, I've driven on this bridge.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. The Mid-Hudson
Anyway.
Bridge is fine. It's also in perfect working order, and it's not that old.
There's that bridge that collapsed out west a while ago.
Which bridge is this?
You don't remember? There's a huge
No,
news
I'm
story.
asking you because you're saying
I forget the name of the bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because I don't. There was also a galloping gurney.
Yes, and when did that happen? What-
Decades ago.
How many colors?
Last millennium.
Scott, how many colors that are not gray are in the video of that bridge?
2.
Huh?
Dark brownish and sort of whitish.
Regardless, as an IT professional, it is my opinion that the power distribution infrastructure in the United States, and by extension the data distribution infrastructure, is the most prone to failure and most dangerous thing we've got going right now.
All right, anyway.
Anyway, so basically this thing's being held up and the poles on either side of it are kind of drooped in a little bit. And you look, and then right as we see, oh, there's a car there, I hear the guys outside go, holy shit, there's a car stuck to it.
Yeah, some guy crashed his car into the telephone pole.
This punk kid, and he wasn't drunk. I saw him do the sobriety test. He was just stupid. He ran into this thing. No, he didn't just run into this pole. The speed limit's like 25 there. He ran into this pole fast enough to shatter it and to deploy his airbags and completely ruin his car.
Yep. He was fine, though.
He was fine, but the front end of his car was completely smashed. Fluid was dripping out all over the place. Car wouldn't start. It was
Luckily,
done.
he crashed right on top of the drain in the streets. All the fluid went down the drain instead of covering the street, making it slippery for the next guy.
So, of course, Scott and I walk out, and we're standing there kind of sniggering at the fact that...
We're sort of rubbernecking, only we don't have a car to rubberneck out of because we're walking.
And
Because right
basically,
outside the
our
window.
conversation is along the lines of, what a dumbass. Oh, man, here come his parents. They don't look happy.
Oh man, here come police. Oh man, here come the fireman.
Of
Let's
course,
see what
part of
trucks
the-
the fireman
But then
have.
part of the discussion was, wait a minute, if that pole gives way, the power line is going to fall right on us. Let's stand somewhere else.
We stood somewhere else.
Yeah, so we're like, we kind of back away, walk around, and we're watching, and one cop car shows up, yells at the kid. Another cop car shows up. Now, the real problem here is that this is the only non-freeway east-west road basically in Dutchess County.
Yeah, there's a lot of places people want to go that the only way they can get there is by driving on this road past our house.
There are only 2 roads that go east-west. Interstate 84 and Route 52 that goes past our house.
No, it's also 9D.
Not really. That goes north-south, Scott.
Yeah, but you can sort of, take 9D, if you want to
Yes.
parallel to 52 for quite a bit.
Not really.
Yeah. You can if you go on the prison road, you can take 9D
Scott,
parallel
you
to
can
52.
yes, you can go north, not east or west on 9D.
But it's parallel to 52.
Actually, no, it isn't. Then you get on that other road, 60 whatever, that
Yeah.
goes at a looping angle around and then meets up with 52.
It did, but you can take it as a detour.
Anyway, my statement, it's the only east-west roads in the area stands because you said, no, if you go way out of your way, you can take that north-south road.
Oh, it's a detour, so
It's not
it
an
doesn't matter.
east-west road. It
But you
goes
can use it to get farther westward. Can you not?
barely.
Yes, you can. All right, anyway.
Well, no, you have to use the other road. It doesn't go east at all or west. You have to get on that other road.
Anyway.
Regardless, there is no way, like whenever there's an accident on I-84, basically it is impossible to go east or west in this area for like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's not really a good situation. There are very few major roads. There's lots of side roads, but the major roads are few in number.
And the reason
there's
for this-
extremely limited number of ways to get from any location to any other given location.
There's actually only
efficiently.
one reason for this, and the reason is NIMBYs and bananas.
Pretty much.
We need to build more roads around here.
We definitely do.
We
We've
need to knock
usually
down
got to knock
houses.
someone's houses down. That's
Which,
how it's
yes,
gotta
we have
be.
to buy their houses, knock them down, build another road, and then we'll be done.
It's the only way we can do it.
So, all right, basically, the end result of this, and this is a topic that has often angered me. It angers me less now that I don't drive to the Bronx every day. But basically, because one dumb kid drove stupidly and crashed on a road, the number of people that were inconvenienced and the thousands upon thousands, there was probably well over $10,000 in damages to the city of Beacon, and all these delays and all this craziness. And it's very difficult to get any of that money out of the kid who made a stupid mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he has to pay for, a new car, maybe his car insurance, premiums.
And he's definitely going to get a ticket.
He's going to get some sort of ticket and whatever, but you can't sue him for the actual damage caused. I mean, like, let's say I crash my car
There's the
on
thing.
the George Washington Bridge, right? Okay, so, there's the damage to my car. There's the damage to the guy I hit, which they can make me pay for, right? There's maybe I'll damage the bridge a little bit. Maybe I'll scrape it up. Right? But think about the traffic that causes, of all the time, of all the people that is now lost because I screwed up. No one pays for that time. Those people are just fucked. There should be a way to force that person to pay for that time, but no one could afford that time except Bill Gates. Because think about that. You're wasting an hour of the time of thousands of people. An hour times thousands of people, that's millions of dollars.
And the worst thing is, it was the middle of the night. It was like 11:30, and yet the amount of traffic that got backed up by this thing right away.
Well,
Luckily, the only reason it was okay is because you could take it. The accident was in the perfect place. You could take the little detour around past our house to get around it.
Yeah, the thing is, when I woke up in the morning, right, they had a new pole in the ground, but they were still moving the wires from the old pole to the new pole. It was actually, I was kind of envious of those guys because they got to wake up in the middle of the night, which sucks, and then work on this pole pretty much nonstop until it was done. But it was a Friday, so as soon as they finished it, they got to go home and probably didn't have to work at all, and they got paid mad overtime. So I was like, oh, you assholes.
The part that sucks, and the reason I say, oh, this sucked, is all right. So I upload the show, and I know the power is going to have to go out while they fix this.
At some point.
And it's balls hot out.
Real hot.
So I decide, all right, I'm not going to bother with the AC. I'm going to turn everything off, leave my windows open, leave the fan on as long as I can, and go to sleep. So I lay in bed. Bang, crash, guy yelling. Bang, crash, guy yelling. Bang, crash, guy yelling.
I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, well, because my windows basically are facing directly at all the business.
I had my windows closed and my AC on.
Yes, I didn't do that.
Why didn't you?
Because the power is going to go out. I went out almost
Eventually,
right
but
away.
until then, you can build up some AC.
See, but that wasn't going to work.
It worked for me.
Nah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyway, oh, damn it. So I closed my windows and turned on the AC, and I said as cold as I can. So the room gets to about 65 degrees.
That's a little too cold.
Because I figured that'll hold me over all night, and that's fine. I was actually very comfortable all night, because even after the power went out, the room stayed cool, and it warmed up gradually, and then I woke up and went to work, and the power was still out.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, the power went out. My AC turns off, which wakes me up. I'm ready to go back to sleep, but then I hear the beep, beep, beep of Scott's UPS because he didn't turn it off.
Also the one in the hallway.
And the one in the hallway because, again, Scott didn't turn it off.
Why am I the one who has to throw out the one in the hallway?
Because it's next to your bedroom.
That doesn't mean anything.
I just ignored it.
Yeah, I took care of it.
So I got woken up all these times, then I had to go to work, then I stayed out all night. I was so exhausted Friday night.
All right, yeah. See, I woke up. The only trouble it caused me, because the power was on when I woke up, but I think it killed the DNS server, which is sad because we had all these computer parts, enough to technically build 3 or 4 computers, and we only managed to build 1 computer, and now it doesn't even work. We have all these computer parts and 0 working computers out of
Yeah.
them.
What sucked was when I woke up, the power was still out, so I had to shave and shower in the morning without any lights.
See, I woke up, the power was on, but I had to get all these computers back in business as much as I could, right?
Why bother?
Because I had to, check my emails,
You
whatever.
don't just go to work and check it, or
Nah.
use your phone or something. Good God.
My phone doesn't do that yet.
Oh.
And then when I tried to get out of the driveway, there was a lineup of cars taking the detour, but I managed to squeeze out and go to the train. Luckily, very luckily. But yeah, the detour was pretty backed up because it was getting towards, daytime rush hour about then, and they were still working on the pole, and the road was still completely closed. It was fixed when I got home, though, and now all is well.
Anyway, that's all we got. So, tech news.
We talked about that for a long time.
Tech news. What do you have in tech news?
So check this out, right? There's a lot of places on the internet to legally purchase the digital music, right? You got your iTunes with its DRMs where they sell you individual songs. You got your Napster, what bought the name Napster but isn't really Napster. Is Amazon MP3 store, which is actually not so bad, but the price is still too high for me. And now the Rhapsody. Now the Rhapsody, I don't know, a lot of people know about the Rhapsody. I don't know how popular it is. It basically works. It has DRM, and it works with like a lot of these, Microsoft kind of crappy MP3 players, like the cheap ones you see in the store. But the way it works is you pay a flat fee monthly, and you can download as much music as you want. And there's mad DRM on it, so you can only play it on, DRM players. But there's a hell of a lot of music in there. Like, holy shit. And these Rhapsody people, they decided, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do what everyone else is doing and take out our DRM. And when I read that headline, Rhapsody removes DRM, I'm like, I'm signing up. I'm going to sign up and download as much music as I want without DRM for a monthly fee. Holy shit. Holy shit. And I read onwards.
Because think about it, for one, we use the Roku for Netflix a whole bunch, and it is super DRM, but I don't care because I want to watch a movie. It's not like they pretend that they're selling me a movie and then they charge me a bunch of money. They charge me almost nothing, and I'm clearly renting the movie, so it works out. But music was tougher because with the DRM...
Well, okay, I think it's with music. With a movie, I'm fine having the movie, not so portable. With music, I need to be able to copy it all over the place.
Yeah, I got to be able to bring it on my laptop and my iPod. And
I need to be able to mix it into a movie if I want to make a movie.
Yeah, I got to be able to make excerpts of it for the show whenever it comes up.
Yep. Anyway, so I go and I'm like, I'm totally going to do this. And I look, and disappointment, but of course, I guess it was expected. They're keeping their subscription service. If with the DRM, if you don't do the DRM, they're selling the music individually by the song or by the album, just like everyone else. Is basically no different than the Amazon MP3 store. And if I'm going to do one of these where you buy the music individually, I'm going to do the Amazon MP3 store. Why should I bother with this Rhapsody bullshit thing when the Amazon MP3 store is the same and has, more music that I want and also doesn't have DRM and works with Amazon, which I use a lot anyway. And I can actually get like 10% off if I sneak around at the Amazon affiliates program and shit.
Ah, the Amazon affiliates program, the permanent discount for
Amazon,
Sky.
Amazon Associates. But so really, what are they thinking? And how come it's obvious? I mean, if you made a subscription music service just like the Netflix of music where pay a monthly fee, download as much as you want.
Everyone
in the universe would sign up. And
everyone who makes
Pirate
an
Bay
online
would
music
go
store
away.
knows this. It's common knowledge. They know exactly what would work very well, what would make a ton of money, what would be perfect. The people that won't let it happen are the record labels and the artists.
I don't know. I think there's some artists who wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah, but by and large, it's the some of the
think
artists
about this, right?
And the record labels who the artists sign their rights away to.
Think about this: you sign into iTunes, right? And there's that front page that's like hot new music. Check these people out, right? But it all costs money, so you don't really click on any of that shit, right? Imagine it was a subscription service. Download all you want. I would just try everything on the front page. And then artists would be paying a hell of a lot of money to get them on the front page because pretty much everyone would download and listen to them. And then their concerts would be sold out if they were any good.
But who doesn't make money off of this scheme? The record label.
The record label just needs to die. I think that's been made clear. And actually, I read this really great article today. I just remembered. I'm going to link to it. Basically, the what he says in this article, right, is that there's sort of this common perception, right, that technology is moving so fast that business can't keep up with it, right? He's like, that's complete bullshit. That's like saying, oh, these snails, they're going too fast for us. Napster came around before the year 2000. And music record companies still haven't changed.
Now remember, 2000 doesn't seem that long ago. That was 8 years ago.
These people have had between 5 and 15 years
to
deal with the internet and all of the other technological consequences.
Was when Napster died, not when it started.
They have had 8 years. The music companies, TV, everyone who is getting, all the businesses that are getting destroyed because technology has made them obsolete, these companies have had forever to do something about it, to change in some way.
Forever.
And not one has managed to do anything about it. Not one. The technology, sure, it's moving pretty fast compared, in a historical perspective, but it is not moving so fast you can't adapt to it. That is a ludicrous idea.
Well,
it has taken years for these things to happen. Even if it only took months is plenty of time, but years. You had 8 years since the death of Napster to do something to fix music, and they haven't done shit. They can't be blaming that technology moves too fast. Their business is slower than a snail.
Well,
it is all their fault.
Speaking of the one company that does get it, remember a while ago, Netflix announced famously that they didn't really announce. They just kind of emailed all their subscribers and said, hey, less than 1% of you use profiles, so we're just going to get rid of them. And that's the end of that. And we're done. And that's all we're saying about it. And, of course, the internet lost its shit about this.
Well, here, for people who don't use Netflix, let me explain, right? So Netflix is basically automatic DVD rental. If let's say you choose you want a 2 DVD plan, right? So you go on the website, you pick DVDs out, and you put them in a queue. It's the order you want to watch the movies in. They mail you the movies, you mail them back when you're done, and every time you mail one back, they send you another one. So a 2 DVD plan means you will have 2 DVDs in your possession at once. And when you mail one back, you get one back.
Now, the one thing, when I first got onto Netflix, and I noticed right away, all right, I have 3 DVDs. I want to have a DVD dedicated to anime, a DVD dedicated to TV shows like Seinfeld, and a DVD dedicated to movies. And Netflix said, oh, you can't do that. And I said, hey. But then my friend Scott Johnson said, oh, well, you have to make a separate profile for each person and make up some people. So,
yeah, see, the idea...
I made up Anime McAnime and TV show McTV.
Yeah, see, the idea behind the profiles feature, right, is that let's say you're a family. You have mommy, daddy, and 2 kids. You're a perfect American family. How nice. You would buy a 4-disc plan, and each person would have their own Netflix account, but you only pay for one plan. And that way, each person manages their own queue for their one DVD separately. The thing is, they didn't anticipate, and they still apparently don't understand that if one person has more than one disc, even though they want one account, one login, but they want separate queues for each disc. It just makes sense. I don't want to have one. I mean, if I have one queue, right, just one list, and I want Seinfeld season 4. That's like, how many discs, right? I don't want 3 discs of that at once. I have to watch one, then watch the other, then watch the other. That doesn't help me. I might as well just get 1 disc at that point. I want 3 separate discs. That way I can have, a movie, a disc of Seinfeld, and an anime, show at the same time. So that way I can watch some anime when I feel like it. When I send an anime back, I get an anime back. That's what I want. But the only way that's possible in Netflix is to make up fake people and pretend you're a family with an anime watching kid, a Seinfeld watching person, and a movie watching person.
But Netflix, what I thought was beautiful about this debacle was that they said, and they kept saying, less than 1% of our users use it. I think it was noted on Fark and Slashdot and Dig that, well, I guess that entire 1% is everyone on Fark, Slashdot, and Dig.
Yeah, pretty much. Either Netflix has an extraordinary number of customers and the vocal Netflix customers on the internet are only 1% of their total customer base, which is, I guess, could be possible. Well, or they're lying.
See, the thing is, we got the answer to this quite clearly because I got an email from Netflix today, and it says, and I quote, "We are keeping Netflix profiles. Dear Brandon, you spoke and we listened. We are keeping profiles. Thank you for all the calls and emails telling us how important profiles are. We are sorry for any inconvenience we have caused. We hope the next time you hear from us, we will delight and not disappoint you. Your friends at Netflix." Now, one, this tells me that they were lying about the 1% because they wouldn't do this unless they had taken a hit. And 2, it proves that when geeks can, they vote with their wallets. Because I remember when they announced this, I didn't notice until Scott Johnson said, "Oh my God." And then I looked, and sure enough, they'd cut away profiles. I called Netflix immediately. And when I picked up, they didn't say, Netflix, how can I help you? They said, "Are you calling about profiles?" And I said, is there anything I can do to keep my profiles? And they said no. And I said, the only reason I'm not canceling Netflix right now is that I just bought your stupid Roku. What's the cheapest plan I can get and still use my Roku? I want that plan. And they said, fine, it's $8.99, one DVD unlimited. It'll be effective
They didn't
tomorrow.
even fight with you. Retention didn't even come play into it. They just said, let's get this over with. I got like 100 calls about the profiles after you, kid.
Yep. Now, and from what I gather, pretty much everyone called and either canceled their Netflix or dropped to the cheapest plan they could, which was one DVD.
Because if you only have one disc and one profile, then it's okay. You don't have a problem. Yeah.
Well, I guess if
But
you're...
if I have two discs, I need 2 queues.
I guess if you're unemployed or something, then you could deal with having like 4 DVDs in one queue because you don't care. You're going to watch them all immediately anyway.
Yeah, Netflix really, though. I mean, the profiles are good because there are plenty of people who have a household of multiple human beings and they want one Netflix account, one Netflix bill, and multiple people to have 1 queue each. That makes sense. However, there are also people out there who are a single human being, yet they want multiple DVDs at a time, and they need to add the feature where you can have multiple queues in one profile.
Well, the thing is, I get the impression that what a lot of people do, and I saw a lot of people saying this on the internet when other people complained, and I'm going to paraphrase all of their responses into one made-up post that I'm going to quote now, thus constructing the perfect straw man to then argue against.
Alrighty.
I don't know why you people are so mad about this. I mean, seriously, I have 4 DVDs, and you know what? Every time I send a DVD back, I just go to the queue and rearrange everything so it works. And you know what? The only reason I use... I'm not quoting my straw man anymore. The only reason I use Netflix, because I don't have to do that. If I had to do that, I wouldn't be using Netflix. Time is more valuable.
If I was doing that, I'd just go to Blockbuster and pick out a movie every time.
In fact, I would probably get the Blockbuster plan, because then I can just go to the Blockbuster
And get video games.
and get whatever thing I want. I only use Netflix because it requires 0 effort.
Yeah, I just want to set up these queues, and then if I ever think of a movie, or if I notice a movie, I just add it to the queue, not even think about it, and just DVDs come in the mail without having to think. And that is why Netflix is great. So having one queue and having to constantly finagle the queue to get it in the right order
finagle. That's a really good
I have
word.
multiple discs.
That's one of my favorite words, in fact.
It defeats the purpose of having Netflix, and there's no reason to pay for something like that because it'd be actually take less time to just go to Blockbuster, like on the way home from work or something.
But anyway, Netflix
but
realized this.
I still think if we're strong enough to get Netflix to bring back the feature, we can force them to add the next feature.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the rub. Netflix fucked up. We had 4 DVDs coming to this house, and because we're busy all the time, partly because we used to use all those DVDs, but then, we started doing Geeknights, and we stopped watching movies.
That's for sure.
We kept all the DVDs, because, I had an anime queue that I was using because I watched stuff on the train, and the movie queue pretty much didn't get used anymore, but one of the queues Emily used, one of the queues was like the Simpsons and whatever queue, but when Netflix fucked us, and I dropped to one queue, I noticed that, wait a minute, every TV show I want to watch, I can watch free online now, except Seinfeld.
Yeah, you got the Hulu.com action going on.
So I can watch
the
Simpsons
Hulu.com
there.
is not bad. As distasteful and corporate as it is, the ads are short and tasteful, and the content is plentiful.
So I use that for all the, old TV shows and new TV shows I want to watch, like The Daily Show.
Yep.
I use South Park, their website, to watch South Park.
I use College Humor, YouTube, Angry Video Game Nerd,
Yahtzee.
Yeah, I got the zero punctuation. There's plenty of videos on the internet to entertain now that we have a computer
So
plugged
basically,
into the TV.
what Netflix did is make me realize that I only need 1 or at most 2 queues. So they're not going to get my business back. They basically just screwed themselves out of my money, and I think I'm not the only one because, I was listening to Fast Karate, and he was talking about how awesome his Roku is, and I think the Roku is the future, and I think Netflix kind of made a bad move here because a lot of people are probably not going to get their queues back because they're going to realize how little they use them.
Here's the thing. Check this out. You ready? In a way, it's not a bad move for Netflix, and here's why.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think I know what you're going to say. Here, let's see if I was going to say the same thing you were going to say.
All right.
It's a lot cheaper to stream shitty movies to people than to mail good physical movies to people.
And they're paying the same subscription price.
Oh, snap.
And they're paying $100 for a box they're probably profiting
So
on. Because that
maybe-
box is maybe like $25 of electronics, maybe at the most.
Yeah, plus, look at the movies in there. I mean, what did they just add in the last couple
All
weeks?
the trauma films, which suck.
Yeah, we actually watched Teenage Cat
No,
Girls in
I don't
Heat.
call that watching. We skimmed. We
All right, let me tell
we
you.
glanced at it to see what the deal was.
Teenage Cat Girls in Heat was one of those movies that was awesome in the kind of
I mean, with a
abstract
title like
sense.
that, how can it not be infamous?
We did. I remember we were told it existed and did not believe that it was real until we saw the DVD at Video Barn. We laughed hysterically and decided that we weren't going to get it for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But now, Netflix on demand, it cost us nothing but our time.
Yep.
Wait a minute, I said a little while ago that my time is my most valuable commodity. And what do? Piss it away on Teenage Cat Girls in Heat immediately.
Well, we fast forwarded through it, so we didn't really waste that
All right,
more
one.
time than it was worth.
That movie, not enough cat girls, not enough
Well, there were
heats.
no cat girls. They were cats that turned into non-cat girls.
Yes, which was disappointing. To
At
say
least
the
put
least.
some ears on them, or like a leopard print, loincloth or
But
something.
2, not enough heat. 3, mostly about these 2 really stupid guys.
It was one of those typical late night, not Cinemax cable movies where it's pretty much, teenage boys watch it and go, oh man, there's going to be action, and there's never any action.
Yeah, you know what? You're better off watching MD Geist.
Better off watching Cinemax.
Because
At
you know
least
what?
there'll be some action.
MD Geist is the most dangerous, but he is not a doctor.
No. No, he's not. All right.
All right, I feel like I should talk about this. I'm not gonna actually talk about it. I'm just gonna bring it up. All this business with unlimited, flat top level domains, anyone can pay for a top level domain. That is possibly the dumbest thing that I cannot express to you from a technological standpoint. As an IT professional, someone who has paid a lot of money to sit there and tell other people what I think about technology. It is such a bad idea. I'm not even going to say why. I just want to get my opinion out there and be done with it. And don't even get me started on internationalizing the domain names with like Russian and Cyrillic and Japanese characters. Anyway, things of the day. The fact that this is on Gizmodo is pretty much entirely made up for by what it is. I really wouldn't link to Gizmodo if it weren't totally awesome, because they're kind of just classless and I really don't enjoy them. But anyway, Lego has a vault of almost every Lego product they've ever made unopened, and this video shows you all of it. And the reasons they keep the vault, copyright and trademarks and patents and also for museum purposes and archives and whatever. The coolest thing is that you'll watch this video and you're going to see all these things that you had played with in your youth or saw other kids play with. The nostalgia factor is painful.
It's super painful.
Especially-
and of course, the guy goes right for the best possible sets.
He's like the original Yellow Castle, the better castle that came later, the pirates, the spacemen, the monorail.
Yeah.
Because, you all wanted the monorail, and none of your parents would buy it for you. Maybe there was that rich kid down the street who had the monorail, but he never let you play with it.
Yeah. And, the Yellow Castle, as nostalgic and cool as it is, I much prefer the castle that comes after it, the Black Knight's
The castle that came before.
that he shows it for like a second. I never had that castle, but I wanted it badly. But it was $100, which in those days was crazy.
Yeah, the monorail.
Big Lego sets now are like more than $100. Like
The monorail was
$100.
$120. I wanted it desperately. It was on every Christmas list when I was a kid, and my parents, Santa Claus, never brought it.
No, the biggest Lego sets I got were like these $60 ones. I never, ever, ever got
The biggest one I
$100
ever got was at the end, but the last Lego I ever got with my own money meaning my allowance, I bought the space shuttle.
Yet in aggregate, if you added my Legos together, I could have had 3 of those giant castles. I would have traded all my Legos for 3 giant castles.
You
but
realize
no.
you guys are so lucky that our Legos are not here, because Geeknights would end and I would be playing with my Legos every other night.
I guess you can make Lego videos.
We just turned into the Lego show.
I don't know. Is there a Lego podcast? There needs to be.
I really want to play with Legos.
Someone get on that. All right, so there have been audio files before.
I'm worried about what you're going to bring up.
people who say, oh, yes, if you use this wooden volume knob, it will cancel the evil vibrations and your music will sound better. Basically,
I remember reading a journal about some audiophiles, and they were they had this, it was like a blog, and they were talking about, this room, like, we had this problem one day, the craziest thing, and, we were doing audio tests, and this one stereo sounded great. Then we went to get lunch, and we came back, and it sounded like shit, and we couldn't figure out why, and blah, 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 blah. And then we figured out that Joe had spilled a little bit of coffee on the coffee table, and that was ruining the sound. And when we got the coffee table out and replaced it with a different table, it sounded great again. So watch where you spill stuff. And I remember my brain wanted to jump out of my eyeballs and kill itself.
Yes. So this is perhaps the worst audiophile offending product ever, right?
I know what you're bringing up here.
There is the $1,200 power cable. That was pretty offensive. Actually, I say this is equally offensive. Here we have the $501 Ethernet cable.
Now, this is ripped off almost shamelessly from Lewis Black, but it's digital! It's digital! It can't change! It can't have any effect!
A $2 network cable from
Jesus,
Home
fuck
Depot.
me in the eye, Christ!
Network cable from Home Depot.
That was like Lewis Black, but then Gilbert Godfrey snuck his way in.
On Amazon, it's only $475.
Oh, the Amazon discount.
Yeah.
Now it's worth it.
Yeah, suddenly, right? It's just a network cable with some fancy stuff around it.
It's Cat 4000E.
Yeah. The reason this is a thing of the day, right, is not because I want you to buy this thing, or not just to warn you not to buy it. Because if you're a Geeknights listener, I hope you're smart enough not to buy this.
If you're not, well, email me, because we have to talk. I got some other products that might be up your alley.
Yeah, lobotomy, home kit.
It's called an ice pick and a poor understanding of science.
I've got also a what's the word for making sterilization kits?
It's called an ice pick and a very good understanding of science.
All right. So this is actually a Denon AKDL1 dedicated link cable. Do not buy any product by Denon. I do not. If it says Denon on it, don't buy it. Now, the reason I'm linking to this, as I was about to tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, is because on Amazon not only sells products at a good price, they allow customers to review products. And of course, you might expect there to be stupid customer reviews of audiophiles saying, oh, I use this network cable on my audio equipment and oh, it sounds so great now. Oh, this is totally worth the $500. You're wrong. You might be expecting to see customer reviews from people like myself saying, wow, anyone who buys this is a complete idiot. Why are you spending $480 on something that's no better than something like a piece of copper wire from Radio Shack for 50 cents?
What, Scott, do we see?
Let me read you one sentence.
What do you see?
Let me read you the first sentence from the first customer review. And this is from Michael McKinley on Amazon.com. Rating 1 star, disappointing quality. A caution to people buying these. If you do not follow the directional markings on the cables, your music will play backwards. Please check that before mentioning it in your reviews. I was disappointed. I consider myself an audiophile. I regularly spend over $1,000 on cables to get the ultimate sound. I keep my music listening room in a Faraday cage to prevent any interference that could alter my music listening experience. Sending any signal down ordinary copper can degrade the signal considerably. While ordinary listeners might not notice, to somebody with even a rudimentary knowledge of sound, the artifacts are glaring. Denon should have used silver wiring, hermetically sealed inside the rubber sheath to prevent any tarnishing, of course, which has significantly higher conductivity than copper. Furthermore, Denon needs to treat the wires they use in the cable with polarity inductor to ensure minimal phase variance. Needless to say, I returned the cable and wrote an angry letter with the so-called engineers at Denon. Let me read one more. 4 stars. It gets me closer to the Lord. If I could use a rusty box cutter to carve a new orifice in my body that's compatible with this link cable, I would already be doing it. I can just imagine the pure musical goodness that would flow through this cable into the wound and fill me completely, like white holy light. Holding this cable in my hands actually makes me feel that much closer to the Lord Jesus Christ. I only make $6.25 an hour at the Jack in the Box, but I saved up for 3 months so I could have this cable. It sits in a shrine I constructed next to my futon in mother's basement. I only give it 4 stars in my review because I can't find music that is worthy enough to flow through this utterly perfect interconnect.
The fact that he refers to mother as opposed to my mom.
There are many, many, many more reviews in this hilarious style.
Thank you,
insulting
Internet. Thank you, Internet.
This incredibly evil and scam artist product.
To use a Rileyism, thank you, Internet. My faith in the Internet is back. You people make me proud to be an Internet person.
So, go forth. Of course, it's really sad. If you look at the reviews, of course, you can't really trust the reviews because a lot of them are just, random, like that 4-star one. But actually, there are 104 5 stars and 67 1 stars. Oh, well.
So, I bought a laptop recently, and Scott owns a laptop.
That I bought about a year earlier.
And Alex just bought a new laptop. And
For way too much money, but it's worth it.
I don't think it was way too much money. Was it?
Well, it was the price that was demanded for the quality.
Yes, it wasn't much more than what I spent.
You get what you pay for.
But we realized we should talk. We're not going to talk really in the abstract a lot about the concept of a laptop.
No. Well, you see, what's been going on is actually we've reached a point where laptops are more popular than desktops. Laptop sales exceed desktop sales. That is the world we live in.
There are a lot of. This is the world we live in.
And people
these are the
on the internet,
we're given.
they seem to have a really hard time picking out a laptop. Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? Which one should I buy? And a lot of people make, not so good decisions. And some people make good decisions, but some people don't. And we often are asked, which laptop should I buy? Or here's a few laptops. Which one should I get? Or I need a laptop for this other person. Which one should they get? And
if you don't want the belabored answer, we have a short, easy set of questions you can ask yourself. But then we'll talk in depth.
yes. So the first question you ask yourself,
This is very simple.
do you need a computer?
Yes. Now, that might sound like a dumb question, but seriously, think about it. I've seen people who own laptops who do not use their computer, let alone their laptop.
Yep.
So, all right, you've answered that question. Then question number 2 is very, very simple. Do you have money?
If you don't have money, a laptop is probably something you shouldn't buy.
Well, we'll get to that. You could buy the EPC.
El cheapo. Yeah, that's if you don't have. But if you have no money,
But-
it depends. Basically, how much money do you have is the real question you have to answer.
Well, do you have money? Are you willing to spend it? Because if you have the money to spend, just go buy a really good $2,000 to $3,000 laptop. It'll do everything you want. It'll be perfect in every way. You're done.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't care about spending more, I mean, even if you only need a $1,000 laptop, if you're stupid rich, why not buy the $3,000 laptop?
Because I'll tell you what, like the difference between a $1,000 laptop and a $2,000 laptop is that it'll be smaller, lighter, faster. The battery will last a freaking lot longer. It'll be supported better, and it'll just work. The difference between a $2,000 laptop and a $3,000 laptop is that the battery will last about 45 minutes longer. It'll be a little bit lighter and a tiny bit smaller.
Yeah, but really, it's the $3,000 laptops, even though the actual numerical increase is only marginal, the actual life experience increase is like chocolate and shit.
It is. Pretty much, if you want a good laptop, spend the money. And if you don't spend the money, then you're not going to get what you could have gotten. You're not going to be satisfied.
Right. So the thing you have to ask yourself now is, what are you going to do with this laptop? If you're just looking to, browse the web on the go, do a little word processing, a little email, little forums, right? Maybe little flash games. Then maybe, you can start looking at maybe the MacBook Air, maybe look at, with some of the cheap $1,000 guys, maybe even the EPC.
But again, the MacBook Air, do you have money?
That's true. Now, let's say maybe you actually want to do, real computing, but you don't want to really do like 3D games, but you want to do real, everyday computing, a whole lot of it. It'll sit on your desk a lot. This will be your primary computer. Well, now you're starting to look at like, Lenovo T-Series.
See, now this is the other question you ask yourself. Are you going to use this computer at the places you end up at? or on the way to those places. Now, if you answer yes to the first and yes to the second, you still need a tiny, expensive laptop. If you answer yes to the first and no to the second, meaning like you're a business traveler, you have a computer you use at home. You travel to a destination, you stay there for a week doing your business traveling, whatever, and you use the laptop in your hotel room.
In other words, when you're carrying, like say, if you're we're talking about here is the difference between this. One person has a laptop, right? They get to a hotel, they open it. They close it. They get to an office, they open it, they close it. They get home, they open it, they close it. They're not like going into Starbucks and opening it all the time, or they're not opening it on a train and opening it on a plane and opening it all over the place. See, if you only open it when you're sitting down at a desk or a table, you can probably get a nice 14, 15, even 17 inches if you need that. Say you're a graphic designer.
Also,
or
you get
something.
one of those big honking fast machines where the battery only lasts about an hour.
Yeah,
if you
because
unplug
you'll
it.
be plugging it in all the time. If you're at an office or at your home, you can plug the thing in. You don't need the battery life to be, many, many hours long. You just want something that's a powerful computer that you can set up on a desk in different places. You can carry it with you in your luggage, and it'll work, and it can be your primary computer, and you don't need another computer. But if you're opening this bitch in Starbucks, if you're opening this bitch on the train, you need a tiny bitch, because you got to be on that lap.
Now,
And you got to have that battery's got to last like 10 hours.
Now, the thing is, 10-hour battery, right? If you want any amount of battery life, you have to spend at least $2,000.
Pretty much. All the laptops that have good battery life, right, have one of two things or both. They have an extended battery. For example, on the Lenovo machines, they have regular batteries, then they have the extended batteries, they go in the regular battery slot, but they're twice as large. You have to buy that when you buy the laptop. You have to get the extended battery. 2 are the Bay batteries. This is what my laptop has.
Yeah, but these are getting not as easy to use anymore.
Yeah, it's a little tricky with the Bay batteries, but some laptops offer the Bay battery option for the people who absolutely need that extra hour or two. You can take the CD-ROM out, and in the same slot where the CD-ROM usually goes, you can slide a battery in there, and now you've got 2 batteries. And when the Bay battery runs out, it'll start using the regular battery. So, like, my Bay battery lasts like a couple hours. It's actually starting to get a little hairy now. I've been sitting in here doing the show. And only when that runs out does the main battery ever get used. So most of the time, I end up just using the Bay battery, filling it up, using the Bay battery, filling it up. And the main battery is like a rock. It's like hardly ever discharges. Now, the other thing you got to do when considering the size is not just the battery life and the weight and how easy it is to carry around, but the screen size and particularly the screen resolution are really important.
You have to watch out because some cheaper laptops that seem small and nice will have a decent-sized screen, but they'll have a low-resolution screen, which is almost useless.
Yes, I mean, you can get a 15-inch laptop, right? But if the screen resolution is 1280 by 1024, you're not really any better off than, say, a 12-inch laptop with a screen resolution of 1280 by 1024. Because even though things are bigger and maybe easier to see, if you have have a problem seeing, you're basically getting a bigger, heavier laptop that uses more electricity, but you don't have any more screen real estate. You can't fit more information on the screen at one time. So, and it's not like a desktop computer. You can change the monitor out, right? This is locked in. You can't change shit. So you better have it right the first time, or else you're stuck with it until it breaks, or you return it.
Now, we say you got to think about what you're going to use this laptop for. I mean, the reason laptops are getting so popular is that more and more we're getting detached from our storage. I mean, as long as I have an internet connection, I can do almost everything that I need to do with my computer. I don't need my data store except for like my media, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is either online, on a USB stick, synced up, whatever. Google Gears, there's a million ways to do it. And that's why laptops are popular. So think about what you do, and also this kind of sucks, but if you are the kind of person who needs the internet to do your stuff, I mean, I watch a lot of media and I write things for my blog that never gets updated and I work on stuff. I don't need my internet connection. If you need an internet connection all the time, that costs a lot of money and there's no easy, cheap way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy these PCMCIA or USB things from Sprint or Verizon or whoever, anyone, and you pay this monthly fee. I think $60 is the most expensive. Sprint's actually a little cheaper. And you plug it into your laptop and you can get internet of varying quality, ranging from really damn good to kind of eh.
I'll tell you one thing, though. It mostly sucks. I mean,
It only really works if you're in a high coverage area like cities and such.
Yeah,
if you're
so
in the
the worst
boonies,
thing
it's not
is-
going to work.
If you think you're gonna, if you ever think, all right, I'm gonna get a Verizon wireless card and I'll use it when I'm traveling or commuting, those things generally don't work well when you're moving.
Yeah.
Not at all.
They don't work on the train too well. It's like they cut in and out. But if you're sitting in say, a park in the city and there's no Wi-Fi that's looking good, it'll totally rock the house and it's wicked fast. With like Evdu, pretty good. But it costs a lot. They actually make some laptops where you don't need the card. The card is built into the laptop and you just need to find some way to activate the service. And those are actually pretty good, but you have to know that that's what you want going in. You can't like decide on that later.
So, if you're looking high end, pretty much the only decision you really have to make is, do you want large, powerful with a low battery life, or small, slightly less powerful and last forever?
Now, there's one thing that's really popular on the high end these days, and that is the solid state drive.
I was just about to bring up, if you're in the high end market, one of the biggest decisions you have to make is whether or not you want to go solid state.
Yeah, see, the advantage of the solid state drives is number one, you're going to have longer battery life because they don't use as much electricity. Two, you're going to pay a lot of fucking money because they're really expensive.
And three, you're going to have relatively little storage on your laptop. These things aren't big.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest, fanciest ones are 64 gigs, which is pretty big, but you're not putting your MP3 collection on there. Basically, if you get the solid state drive, you're looking for speed and battery life, but you're not going to store stuff on there. You're mostly going to put the operating system on there.
Also, quietude and the fact that you can shake the thing around as much as you want while you're using it, and it'll have no ill effects.
Yes, with a regular mechanical magnetic hard drive, if your laptop shakes or bumps, it has to unseat the heads, and that can cause trouble over time, and the drive is probably going to go bad. A solid state drive really doesn't go bad for a very long time. It will eventually, but
because it's basically flash, so it will go bad.
It is flash, but
Yes.
it will go bad eventually. So, but you're not going to be storing MP3s on there so much. It's not going to happen. So you need some sort of external drive or some sort of internet drive or something.
But that's the thing. I mean, if you're someone who's using laptops on the go and you use it frequently, then the little tiny hard drive solid state is great. But if you're one of those people who brings everything you need with you, like a business traveler, then you probably want the laptop that has the 400 gigabyte hard drive, and then you bring your 1 terabyte external hard drive in your carry-on. And
Yep. Now, there is the Mac or PC decision to make, which can be a little tricky.
Here's my answer. Do you have money? And also, are you going to be using the creative stuff? Because if you're not using the tools that work well on a Mac, there's no reason to get a Mac laptop. They're more expensive than equivalent PC laptops.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be doing the basic stuff, the web browsing, the iTunes, which is on PC, Windows also, that sort of stuff, right? Why pay, for the same amount of money, say a $1,500 MacBook costs, a $1,500 Lenovo something or Toshiba something will be faster and better. So if you're doing the same stuff on either one, you should get the PC laptop. You should not get the Mac unless the Mac does something you need that the PC doesn't do. So a graphic designer with an Apple laptop makes total sense, right? Because you're going to be like turning that really nice screen around and showing people stuff at presentations and all that kind of business, right?
Yep. Linux developer, not so much.
No, Linux. And here's the thing. A lot of people talk about Linux on laptops, all right? There are plenty of laptops out there that work fine with Linux. The problem is that people buy laptops and then they try Linux later, right? If you actually bother to look and figure out if your laptop works with Linux before you buy it, you'll find out there's actually a lot of them out there that work really great with Linux. You can just install Ubuntu on them. In fact, Dell sells laptops with Ubuntu on them that work perfectly. There's plenty of other people that do it as well. Lenovo's pretty much work. Fujitsu's, most of them work. There's, even ones that don't work that well, as long as they, maybe they might have a weird wireless card, but it'll mostly work on just about any modern laptop. So, if someone's going to start making the Linux complaint, really, it takes like 10 minutes of researching, if Linux is going to work on there or not, and which parts of the laptop are going to work or not. Because, like on my laptop, the fingerprint sensor doesn't work in Linux. That's about it.
Now, I would go one step further and say this. Much like with the Mac, if you don't have a need or a good reason to run Linux on your laptop, don't bother. Windows works just fine on the laptop, and in fact, in a lot of ways, it'll work better. You'll generally get better battery performance.
Oh, it depends.
On most laptops, you will. The Windows power management is better than the Linux power
It really depends on
management.
the drivers and the exact power management hardware in the computer, and how well Linux deals with that particular hardware.
Yes,
and-
I'm just saying that on average, if you just buy a laptop, you're probably better off just running Windows. And I mean, unless you can articulate to me what you need Linux for on the laptop, don't bother, because you will. I mean, the webcam and sometimes the Bluetooth, a lot of little things you'll have some trouble with.
Yeah, like I have, there's 2 buttons on my laptop next to the power button. Those buttons don't do anything in Linux at all.
And also, I have the same fingerprint reader Scott does, but because I just use Vista, I can use it. It's really great.
It's pretty good.
It's really great. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, is there any other laptop buying advice? Oh, I guess laptop accessories. For example,
All right, one, I don't care how little you spent on your laptop. Buy another charger.
Yes.
Own 2 chargers for your laptop. Good God, is this the best purchase you will make?
Because check this out, right? I have a charger at home and a charger at work. I don't have to carry this AC adapter from home to work back and forth. I just spent the money on another one. It was a little expensive because they rip you off on these things. It was like $40, but not having to carry that thing back and forth is so nice.
Yep.
That means I only have to carry a charger if I go on a trip or something.
And
You know
even
what?
then, if I go on a
lo-
trip, if I leave directly from home, I bring my home charger. If I take a plane that isn't from Stewart Airport, I just leave from work to the airport and I take my work charger.
Yeah, you'll always have. You don't have to, remember to pack the charger because wherever you're leaving from, you have one. And it's generally a good idea to have one charger per place you live.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if you're a student, you're pretty much gonna have your dorm or your school or whatever. Or your home if you're living at home in high schools, then you only need one. But if you have 2 places that you are, like most people, home and work, you want 2 chargers.
Now, 2, and this is actually very, very important. You need to get a bag or something to hold your laptop in, and you have to actually get one that is for a laptop or your laptop will break.
Yeah, I mean, people get ones that are like not the exact right size for their laptop, and then what happens is their laptop like shimmies around in there. That's no good. Other people get ones that are too small for their laptop, and then they just return it because their laptop doesn't fit.
Or they jam it in there and then the screen cracks.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many people doing that.
Now, pretty much, I mean, I'm not going to get it. We'll have to do a separate show on good laptop bags, but you need one that will at least absorb shocks enough to where you won't break the laptop in the average carrying it around scenario.
Yep. Now, the thing is, there's 2 options, actually. You can either get a bag, like a backpack or a messenger bag, that has a laptop compartment.
Which is what I got.
Which is what Rim has. I purchased a sleeve that is the correct size for my laptop. So the laptop has its own protective case, and then I just put, I put it around the laptop and zip it shut, and then I just toss that in whatever bag I'm feeling like. And those are 2 perfectly good options depending on your particular situation. If you got multiple bags going on, you might want to go with the sleeve.
But
if you have a weird sized laptop, the sleeve is also good too.
I stress this again, never put your laptop in just a normal backpack. That actually puts, depending on how you wear it, obviously there's a lot of variables, but that puts a ton of wear and tear on your laptop.
Yeah.
Also, by the same token, don't carry your laptop around on and not in sleep mode unless you have a solid state drive.
Yeah, it'll overheat and shit. Also, a lot of people, they don't think about this, but unlike your normal computer, your laptop is something, if you're carrying it around, it's gonna get beat up. The screen will get mussed up and it will get dinged and you might drop it once, So you really want to take a look at how durable the laptop is. Surprisingly, there are a lot of very non-durable laptops out there. They crack, they break very easily, they're very flimsy. The screen hinge, very important piece, is often really shitty. I noticed this mostly on a lot of laptops you can buy at like Best Buy or whatever. They're very, very flimsy and shitty. Make sure that if you're going to be moving the laptop around a lot, you want to pay extra to get something really sturdy, like Panasonic's Toughbooks, which are freaking tough. Or something along those lines.
Yep. But, generally, most very high-end laptops, especially these small ones, tend to be pretty durable.
Yeah, it does. It really does seem like, the more expensive laptops are more durable. Like
the more expensive laptops are clearly superior.
Look at Lenovo, right? Lenovo has the IdeaPads, which are like the consumer line, and they have the ThinkPads, which is the business line. ThinkPads can take like a baseball bat. Idea pads, I could break them with like my pinky finger. They're just like flimsy, cheap plastic pieces of shit. Where the think pads are made with like Nintendo plastic, which you can't break if you like hit it with a sledgehammer.
Now, if you're going to be traveling long distances a lot, I'd recommend buying another battery just to keep up with you.
Yeah, the reason you want another battery is, let's say I have 10 hours of battery life. Well, if I think I'm going to be on like a camping trip, right, where there's no electricity, well, I can charge up some extra batteries before I go. Then when the batteries run out, I just swap them, and I'm all, I get another few hours in there. That's a good idea.
Of course, if you're really going to travel a lot, I know Lenovo makes them, and I'm sure other people do too. You can actually buy these big pads that you sit onto your laptop and just plug in to the power. And they're basically just a gigantic external battery that lasts for fucking ever.
Yeah, a docking station is also something to consider. If your laptop, or a port replicator, as some people call it, if your laptop, I used one of these actually when I worked at the company that I quit before I worked at my current company.
If your laptop is your primary PC, like you use it at home, but then you take it with you, use it on the train, then you use it at work, you want to have a docking station at home and at work with a monitor and a real keyboard. You just kind of slide the laptop into it.
Yeah, so what I would do back in those days, right, is I had this laptop. I'd use it on the train. I would get to work. At work, I would put it in this docking station. And there was a monitor at work. And there was a real mouse and a real keyboard at work. So at work, I had the Happy Hacking keyboard, my awesome keyboard, instead of the cramped laptop keyboard. I had a real mouse on its own, not the touchpad, and the laptop monitor and a regular monitor, so it was two monitors at once. And it was like, the laptop was really powerful, and it was plugged into the wall, so I didn't have to worry about the battery. And it was like, goddamn. And then when I went home, I would just take the laptop out of the docking station, and what do you know? It's just a laptop on its own, but it's the exact same computer. It's all the stuff I had at work. And it was really great. And if you're in that kind of situation where your laptop is your primary computer, the port replicator is a good idea, especially if you have like a printer. You can plug the printer into that thing. You could plug scanners into it, all kinds of good stuff.
So, I don't know. There's not much else to talk about. I mean, everything else is just, they all support Wi-Fi. It works just fine. You at least want to look at what connectors it has. I mean, the laptops my laptop has FireWire and like actually I think it has 3 USBs and a modem and an Ethernet and RJ45.
Yeah, you want to look
everything.
if you want to plug it in for like presentations. Most of them have VGA out, but you might want to see if it has an S-video out or a DVI or something like that. You want to check if it has, microphone hole, audio out, that sort of thing.
Granted, every laptop I've seen has a terrible audio, and if you're going to be like podcasting or something, you want to use your laptop for audio, buy an external USB non-wall powered sound card and just use that for recording.
It's kind of scary, but a lot of laptops have actual dial-up modems, and then like mine has dial-up modem.
So does mine.
I don't know why. Like, who uses that still?
You know what? If we had a regular phone line, I would totally have a dial-in.
I guess the reason for that, though, at least it makes a little bit of sense.
Shitty hotels, too.
Well, yeah, you could be traveling anywhere, so you might be traveling to someplace. I mean, I never use a dial-up modem, but it's a laptop. I might travel somewhere where dial-up is the option. So rather than force me to carry a modem, a dial-up in there, it doesn't take up much room on the laptop. It's just a tiny telephone hole. Why not have it?
Plus, seriously, if we had a phone line, I would totally just set up a computer that if a computer called would answer and I could dial into my house.
Yeah, I would do something like that.
That'd be really useful.
It'd be okay. But yeah, buying laptops is not really that hard. You just need to think about, it's no different than buying anything else. It's just we keep explaining this buying procedure because people don't seem to get it.
Think about what you need.
Think about what you need.
How much you're willing to spend, what opportunity cost you're willing to put forth.
Then do research to figure out which products will meet your needs within your price range.
If nothing meets your needs, compromise or don't buy something.
And then make a purchase.
Or
Ta-da!
don't. Now, if you're looking for some specific advice, I note that Scott and I basically have 2 generations of the same laptop.
Yeah.
Take that as you will.
The Lifebook P series is very nice.
Yeah, Scott has the 7 and I have the 8.
If I were to buy a laptop today, I would go with what Alex just got. The Lenovo X300 is the hotness of all hotness.
Honestly, if I were buying a laptop right now,
it's also
$2,500. But I'm glad I bought the laptop I did because for what I use it for and for when I bought it, it was a good choice. I had to sneeze right then.
Awesome. Yeah. The X300 wasn't around when you bought your laptop, but now it is.
Plus, I actually really like my laptop, and it was about $500 less.
Well, you're manufacturing that happiness.
No, actually, I'm not. I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you have your Bay battery, and your battery lasts for fucking ever. My battery still lasts about 9 hours.
My battery lasts a long time.
It drops down to about 6 if I play Civ 4.
Oh, my Bay battery ran out.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Oh, so sad.
Yeah. Plus, the thing is, my laptop is fatter than Scott's because it's the newer one. But at the same time, it's a lot more powerful. But it's also stupidly light. Like, it's lighter than the MacBook Air, which is actually surprisingly
If I
heavy.
take the batteries out of mine, it weighs nothing.
Oh, if I take the battery out of mine...
All the weight is in the batteries.
Yeah, if I take the battery out of mine, it basically does weigh nothing.
Yeah. There's 2 other things to consider. Let me just throw these in and we'll be done, right? Some of the small laptops don't have CD-ROM drives. For example, the X300, which I just mentioned.
Well,
if you choose,
optical drives, DVD.
Right, DVD, CD, whatever. If you get the DVD, CD drive in there, you cannot get the Bay battery. It's not an option on there. But on my laptop, I can swap out the optical drive and the Bay battery all I want.
Now, it looks like in new things, it seems like the way they're going is that when you buy the laptop, you choose if you want the removable Bay battery or the optical drive.
That's what the X300 does.
Yeah, I've heard many rumors that the Lifebooks are going to be updated in the future to have that capability, but no swapping anymore.
Yeah, I like the swapping.
I do too.
But if you plan on, watching DVDs on your laptop, your options are either like handbrake them on another computer or, or just get the optical drive.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, you got an LCD. When you're buying a laptop, you're buying a computer and a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse. So make sure you like the keyboard, make sure you like the monitor, and make sure you like the mousing device. Like, there's going to be a Lenovo X200 soon. It's not going to have a touchpad. It's only going to have the red nub.
And you know what?
If you don't
That's bullshit. The red nub is the worst possible thing.
The red nub is okay. And I used to be on the touchpad and on the red nub, but you get used to the touchpad eventually and you don't need the nub anymore.
Yeah, the nub is it's not as powerful. The thing is, I know why a lot of people are turned off by touchpads, because by default, on every freaking laptop in the world, if you touch it, it says, oh, he must have wanted to click on that.
Yeah, you got to turn that shit off.
Yes, and some shittier laptops, the drivers wouldn't let you do that easily.
Yeah.
Modern ones, you can just turn that off.
Yeah, I used to like the nub and hate the touchpad, but just use the touchpad enough that it doesn't bother me anymore. And then, the nub bothers me only a little bit now. But, make sure, and also the screens, some laptops have the matte screens and some have the glossy screens.
Know what that means? They're equally good for different purposes.
Yes, like if you want like really bright image quality, that sort of thing, you probably want the glossy screen. It looks really good. It's a lot more impressive in the store, but the glare is really crazy. If you try to use it when like the sun is shining, you can't see shit. The matte screen, which is sort of just like a normal LCD, it's not as shiny, it's not as impressive, but it does the job, and there's a lot less glare if the sun is shining on you.
If the glare is coming from certain angles, the glossy's better, and from other angles, the matte is better.
Yeah.
Really, it's easy to find examples of both. Just go to the store and fiddle with them, and decide which one you like. They're equally good. It's just a matter of your preference.
And the resolution and the size matter more than the glossy matte decision.
Yeah, and I'd recommend to, if you have the choice, a lot of people want XP for some stupid reason. If you're buying a new laptop, just get Vista. It works fine.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh no, Vista is the evils. Well, Vista's not so great because it's not, it didn't really make any improvements over XP, and I guess that's a valid criticism, but really, it works. I have it on my desktop computer. There's only one problem I've had with it so far. There's no reason to bother with XP. It's just more trouble than it's worth.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.